Okay, folks, welcome back. It takes forever to click on all those things. You'd think it'd be automated. Maybe there's a way to do it. I'm just not smart enough or care to figure it out. People that know how to do all that video stuff, they just don't know how to paint things. So I'm sure there's some that do both, but it's probably the exception. People have different purposes for having their show. I use it for companionship, to force me to stay on task to get things accomplished. Other people want to do Patreons and stuff. If you want to do that, that's fine. It's just not my thing. It's just way too. It'd be just something else to try to get involved in. And I'm just like Now, if I could do a Patreon and just stay here and not have to go to work, well, that's different. But so I said, anytime I've ever worked on something, it's like I do it for free. I do it because I want to, and I can stop doing it as soon as I want to. So. But I like to do what I like to do, and I like to do it. I don't mind helping people out along the way, but okay. All right, so we've got these guys done. Well, the Mini Coopers have been done. Actually these two need to be clear coated. The Trans Am and the Ram and Ronda. Ram and Ronda is the first vehicle I did that I specifically did chipping. I know you said you were never going to do chipping. I said, well, I did chipping because the vehicle already had chipping on it. Like, it literally was chipped. The front of the vehicle had, the paint was chipped on it, and I had to do something. And I was just like, well, let me just paint over it. But it was you could tell the thickness level. So I'm like, we've got to do something. We've got to do something with it. I said, oh, well, it's maybe an opportunity to learn a new skill, and sure enough, I tried doing it, and I think it turned out pretty well. I don't really want to make a habit of it. Now, I am going to do a build at some point that is going to be just a rust bucket. That's not going to be the name of it. That's probably a little too basic of a name. But where that's going to be, the main theme. And I've seen some people do like an entire vehicle that's all rusty. It looks pretty cool. But I don't want every vehicle to look like that, because then they look similar from each other. I like we got a red one and a the color of a phone in the 1960s, and that's sea green or something like that, sea foam green, and then blue, and then the white one. So I like the variety. You can tell them apart almost immediately. And we've got some other things here to work on that have been washed, but. Last weekend, I think it was last weekend, I decided to, how's the saying go, got a wild hair up my ass. And I was brainstorming, and I realized that there is an opportunity to add yet another team. And I say team loosely, because I'm not creating teams in Gaslands that all have a special skill, that all get free bonuses and you don't pay for them. I think that would be really impossible to try to balance out. I don't want to just take some of the pre-made teams and just jumble up the names, create my own names, and it's like, okay, well, the Germans are like Rutherford, and then the British or Varney, or something like that. I'm like, so all the vehicles have to pay for their values and skills and everything, like if they were free agents, and they're a team just by association, right? They're a potential to be on an associated team. So like you have this Ronda, I think is technically a Red Nix vehicle, but she's also female, so she could be on the female team as well. So that kind of thing. I don't necessarily want to do that with every vehicle, but I wouldn't mind like half of them having that. Just so you have people, show up and help out and stuff like that, right? Because we are going to do some scenarios that involve going after a common enemy, and so I was brainstorming, and there's some things that are out there that you normally wouldn't even give a second glance. We've all seen some die-cast model that you're wondering, why in the hell would somebody want this scooter? Or a rubber ducky, or an 8-ball, or a traffic cone. Because not only are they ridiculous, but they're also out of scale tremendously. Like, I wouldn't mind having like a scooter or a motorcycle, right, that goes with vehicles this size, but it better be close to the size that it would be, not some, not box scale like we used to say about Lindbergh and Revell and a couple other model companies. Like, here's the size of the box, and the model is going to be as big as it can be to be in this box. So if it's a battleship, it's 1/540th scale. If it's an airplane, it's 1/43rd. So none of it goes together. A lot of the die-cast stuff is like that. There'll be like maybe a lawnmower. A lawnmower should be little, right? Nope. You got one big one. Same thing. So a lot of those things are kind of ridiculous. And you see a lot of them, and those, unless they're a collectible, and unless you're a collector, those are usually the die-cast things that are sitting on the shelf and nobody wants. So I was doing this brainstorm, and I actually came across something that I think would be appropriate to what I'm doing, and they had it on eBay, which I don't do a lot of business with, but and I'll tell you one of the reasons why I don't do it is because of shipping. They'll literally tell you, hey, this is going to arrive in 2 days, and then it doesn't. But that's not eBay's fault. That's not even my seller's fault. That's just the Postal Service being weenies. But anyhow, so there's some items I ordered, and I also picked up a few today to kind of a retrofit. Like, for instance, I used the tires on this Defender on Ram and Ronda, so I can't build this Defender because the tires are here, or the wheels are there. They're damn good wheels. They're excellent wheels. They're a nice size. They go on all kinds of stuff. I take pictures of this stuff, and I hate to toot my own horn, but they don't do them justice. I paint them so that they look like this, not in the. And actually, the last photos I took here with this light turned out a little bit better. FedEx is lame. They're all lame. I'm not a fan of the Postal Service. So anyways, they said, hey, this should be there on Wednesday. I'm like, well, that's early. Well, it is coming from Newport Richey, right, which is about an hour and a half away or so. And you want to stay for this, by the way. Grab a seat. It's coming from Newport Richey, and hopefully you're feeling better, man. You're all your injuries there. And it said it was going to come on Wednesday, and it didn't. It didn't arrive until today, which is fine because it allowed me to finish Rhonda, and I think I'm going to finish this guy before I start on these new things, I think. But as I've done before, you have to have lots of things moving, because I may work on something, want to get this finished, and I can't because I applied something that requires some drying time. So you want to keep the momentum going, right? It's all going to get built anyways, eventually. I mean, I'm on a tear. I'm building about a car every other day, which is pretty damn good. I don't know that I can keep that up. I think a car a week, that's pretty reasonable, or a vehicle a week. But anyway, so I thought, hey, I remember seeing these things, and it would be weird. This would be a good team to do. So I'm going to spill the beans. I don't do Patreon, okay? However, you guys that do subscribe and watch the show, that's your hidden bonus that you get for that, right? I don't want to sit here and do a video that is like long and involved and it requires a lot of editing on my part, and then I do all that and I only get 40 views, right? Like, what's in it for me doing all that extra work? I would rather it be in for you, that you guys that are subscribed to this channel, you guys get a sneak peek of what's coming ahead, and it doesn't cost you anything, As I said before, I don't want your money. I want Google's money. They got plenty of money and they spend it on stupid shit, I'm sure. So have about 90% functionality of your arm, so it's healing, just slow. Yeah, I hear that's when you find out you're not as young as you used to be, when stuff like that just heals slowly. But I've been fortunately never broken an arm or anything, a bone. So I picked up this stuff on eBay. It's something slightly different, and it's for a team that, again, could transfer another team some of their players. These are all guys that are all going to be on one team, but due to what they look like, they could be parsed out to other folks. And before I get started, I'm going to show you what their logo is. Now, I'm surprised you're pushing 40, so yeah, well, I've been there, 40 and old. But I'm surprised how many people are anti-AI. Now, if somebody says if I was anti-AI, I would say yes, because I don't like seeing fake videos. I don't mind people that animate their cars or their miniature figures. I think that's cool. That's yeah, we're getting to that, man. You're jumping the boat there. So we're getting to. I don't mind animating stuff, but I don't want like fake videos and stuff. And but there's people that are like, they don't want me even. They don't want to even see anything that's created with AI. Well, I'm sorry, I can't create these things from scratch, right? Or the next thing you know, this is all I'm doing. I'm doing one item and that's it. Okay? So, you got to get the machines to help a little bit. And I use them sometimes for ideas for names, but honestly it hasn't been that useful. But I do use them for, creative stuff. So, without further ado, before I get started, but you already started. Yeah. I don't. This is just shooting from the hip. So the name of this team is. Let me find the right one because I had to adjust it a little bit. Let's download this. Well, download it again because I looked in my gallery and it wasn't there. Okay. So I have a set of cars that are in the style of trains. So normally you'd be like, well, that's stupid, right? Because it's obviously not on rails until you realize there really aren't trains. They're just cars that look like trains, right? And the name of the team is going to be Derailed Destruction. Full Steam Behead. So, it's going to be all trains. Now, one thing you got to understand is it's not really trains. It's locomotives. Because there aren't very many car options. Now, I'm not going to use, these are not going to be rigs, okay? But they are going to have some capabilities for having trailers. But they're not, the whatever it is in the game, it's the actual, because they aren't that big. I mean, they're big, but they're not that big, What are the GHQ stuff came in today. They have beautiful packaging. I almost didn't want to open it. Yeah, they do. You're anti-AI when it comes to saturation of crappy videos and voiceovers. What they like to call slop. Well, I posted a picture of my driver for the trans thing, and one guy is like, I know you don't do Facebook. I do. And I basically don't believe in any negativity in it. There's lots of stuff I see every day that I dislike. I just keep scrolling, right? And this last video that I did, I got two people. One of them was just outright fucking nasty. They must have a really small penis or something. And another one was just like snarky about like, oh man, I was all on board, but oh, you used AI slop, so you get half a like. Like, I don't care if you like it or not, I'm just posting it out there. The way I see other people's stuff, it's like, you can just like take all the information in and not contribute, or like put stuff out there and maybe it'll, people will get ideas. Like, dude, like I don't care if you like it. If you like it, cool. If you don't, go away. There's lots of stuff that I see that's painted horribly, and I don't go, man, you really need get good. Like, dude, man, like leave people alone. Anyhow, so this is called locomotoring, and it's got like a clear chassis, and there's moving parts in there, whatever that, and I guess they roll. Made in Malaysia, 2019. I have two of these, by the way. So these actually weren't that expensive. It's like they're 2019. I can't find them in a store, right? I don't remember seeing them at the used place. Guy gave me these freaking peanuts. And then we've got this one, West Coast Flyer. It's getting to the point where people are trying to die on an AI hill no one is attacking. Well, if we ever have a civil war, can we just agree that we can go after people that are just angry and are trying to divide us? Let's go after those people first. I'm just saying, I mean, if it was to happen. So this is a, I had to look this up. This is actually called a Streamline Hudson or something like that. So. What year was this one, by the way? 2019. Yeah, we need to bring back bullying. There's too many people that just want to get in arguments with people that like, dude, like I didn't sleep with your mom. Like, what's your deal, man? You know? This is Rail Rodder. This looks like an older one. 1995. Okay? Again, it's not bigger, so these are all going to be heavy truck class. Okay? That way they can still have some ordnance. And here's another locomotoring. No, I'm not keeping any of the colors. No. So one of these, I think this one, it's probably going to be this one. One of them is going to have a cannon in it. Okay? I don't know which one it is yet. And it's going to be one of these. See how the front of it is flat? It's going to have a freaking cannon. I'm just going to have, it's going to have a BFG. Ooh, finally a BFG, exactly. Finally a BFG. Well, not bring back bullying, but you know, like, you can't run your mouth and like get away with it. Like, you know, stuff, like, okay, me personally, I would be, when I'm talking to people on the internet, I'm nicer to them than I am in real life. Because in real life, you could just walk away from somebody, right? But on the internet, you have to go back and forth. Well, what I meant is this. No, I didn't mean you. I meant your mom. No, I didn't mean... It's like, you know, I don't have a law degree. I have no interest in having a law degree, you know? Yeah, BFG. Yeah, it's in the game. It says 10d6. One shot. It's got to be mounted on the front. And if you fire it, you actually... It does a movement to the medium. A medium movement to the rear. So this is perfect. It's got a flat front. It's one of them's probably going to have that one. The other one's probably going to have a skull on it. Okay. One of them is going to be Russian. It's going to be a Russian armored car, not the armored truck, not the one with the BFG. It might be the one that's called Norfolk and Waypal. We're going to paint them like their engines. You know, I've been collecting legitimate paint schemes. It's cool. I'm like, I thought about this. I'm like, yeah, this could be a lot of fun. This could be a lot of fun. And it gives you a group of guys that other people maybe are trying to stop. You know, maybe they have a head start. You got to chase these guys down, kind of thing. They're going to be heavily armed. These are going to be like 50-point vehicles. I'm going to try to keep them at 50. Some of them may have to go more than that. You know, but interestingly enough, it's not the one that has the BFG. Because the BFG only costs 1 point, believe it or not. It uses 3 build slots, but it only costs 1 point. So, yeah, pretty cool. So that's what came in here, all right? Now, I have one other train that is coming from a different vendor that is different than these, okay? It actually has a little car, and I decided to, we're starting that again? Why? I'm not bending over. It's after Monday through Friday, so we can get that during the week. So I wanted to get the wheels for this to see if they happen to have this vehicle. So I went to, okay, and this is not the same paint scheme as the other one that I have coming, but it is the same train. I'll get a little closer to that. See, it has a trailer. I've got glasses on, of course I'm fumbling shit. It has a little car on the back. It's not really a train car, it's more of a trailer. So, and it should be compatible with all these other ones. Well, not exactly, but anyhow, it was well stocked. So the thing that's, at least on paper, they're all going to be heavy trucks. Because they're all steam engines. They're all going to lay off. They're all going to be able to have a smoke discharger. All have a ram. All have a front-mounted ram. That's what and they're all heavy trucks. So, and they all have to have some mechanism to speed them up. Because a heavy truck is handling 2, gear 3. So they're not going to be able to move in the 4th gear phase. You got to be able to get them up to 4. So one of them may have, like this one for instance, that seems a little streamlined, might have hell for leather. Yes, they do. They do. It's not as awesome as it may think, but I think this is something that everybody can use. Okay, and this is going to look awesome, right? I mean, look at the shape of it. It looks perfect. Hoping to change him will have a phrase like "choo choo, fuck you." What's the saying that we say all the time? Choo choo, motherfucker. Yeah, that's from something. From some movie has choo choo, motherfucker. And then I saw this, and honestly, I got this because of the trailer, and these weren't very expensive, but now this is a oversized Porsche, but that trailer is something because remember, they're heavy trucks; they just look like trains, right? So, yeah, cool stuff. It's gonna be a hoot. And it's something I would have been like, that's stupid. Who the hell wants? That's dumb, you know? All right. So we ended up, well, tell me I didn't get it. All that and I didn't, yeah, here it is. So I have one of these already. This is the Defender in a different color. But I needed the wheels. I needed the wheels to replace those. The trailer looks like the one they describe when they talk about that Havana syndrome. Que carajo eso? Havana syndrome. Is that like, no, that's Stockholm complex or something. What is Havana syndrome? Yeah, I'm not going to Havana. I know that. Symptoms lasted for months. Yeah, I read about this recently, but what does it have on it? Well, it's got a surfboard crap. I'm going to have to modify it. I don't want no damn surfboard on it. Not that I'm not going to have a team eventually that has surfboards. Just saying. I could see a team that has like a bunch of like surfers and like Doobie Brothers and other sand people. The Dune dudes. I could totally see that working. You know, everything from a microbus, Volkswagen dune buggies, and Toyota Technicals. All right, what else we got? Oh, they had 2 of these. And the reason I got this is because I have another one. So there is going to be a Russian team. We'll call them Gremlins from the Kremlin for right now. And they have a black Mercedes. And here's 2 other ones I have. So this might be like, Blue Ivan, and the other one might be, Silver Yuri or something like that. I actually have some nice headlamps already on them. So Isn't that what the mafiosos drive? They drive Mercedes. The Russian mafiosos, the oligarchs. What else do we have here? This one skipped by me. One of these is a... I don't know if this is a treasure hunt. I don't give a crap. It's getting repainted. This is a little Ford RS 200. I don't think they had these in the States. I think this is a European Ford. Europe gets all the cool Fords. This Chevy Silverado got the graphics for Black Widow, whatever the hell Black Widow is. But it's lowered. That means it's automatically going to be the Taco Brothers. Well, maybe not. And I honestly got this for the wheels, because these kind of wheels are really handy. Mainly a Euro thing, yeah. So one thing I've noticed, okay, as a general rule, historical war gamers have some pretty thick skin. Like World War II guys have some pretty thick skin. As opposed to people who play like role-playing games or, you know, Warhammer or whatever. I'm not used to dealing with the, you know, whatever that generation is that weenies about things. So, you know, if you get offended by the stuff that I do here, well, just, you know, maybe you need to watch my show, make a man out of you. I'll be the dad you never had. I'm not talking about you guys, you know how it is. We're here to have fun and make fun of, you know, everything. So, with that said, that's what we got coming up. Now, I think we've narrowed this thing down, and this thing turned out better than I ever could have imagined. As far as their brushing and it looking like it's, you know, just gray and primered. Really, that's what I wanted it to look like. So, oh, these are different. This is a Metro X-Ray Racers. Oh, yeah, what I'm going to do is one of these is going to be Iron Ivan. And Iron Ivan is going to have a turret. It might even be able to have I have a spare T-34 turret. Tabletop gamers are the worst. It's just about people being sissies. I don't care what, you know, whether you're left, right, whatever. Just be able to laugh about stuff. You know, it's like, if you can't do that, I don't want to play a game with you. You know. I have an extra T-34 turret. It might be too big. Let me just use this one. This is not the one I would be using. But if I took something like, let's remove this out of here. Oh, no, it's priceless. Nope, we're going to make it worth more. Not that I want to sell it. Yes, actually, it might work back here. There's a big enough space back here. We could put a turret. Yeah. And yeah, this is completely flat. I've got a skull that's going to go on one of them. Not the Soviet one. So, you know, maybe this will be the Soviet one. Honestly, this one looks more like a 1940s style. Yeah, we'll have to close this up. We don't want to necessarily have it. I think something like that might work. You know, this looks like the front of a Soviet engine. And yeah, it's going to have a red star on it. So again, it could be on the Russian team, it could be a free agent, it could be on these guys, you know, that kind of stuff. So this one feels very different. Very different. Not necessarily better different. So that's what we got going on. So cool stuff coming up. Never had a problem with Warhammer people. I've seen them play the game, and RPGs are played with what they call the theater kids. They tend to be thin-skinned, liberal, and very shallow. I don't care that people are liberal. You know? But not being able to, you know, I don't want to be offended by other people. I don't understand being offended in place of other people. You know, I just don't get that. So that's really what the problem is. Like, you know, whatever. Okay, so we have General Yeet, or whatever we're going to call it. Well, I know we're going to paint Yeet Haw on it. Okay, we're going to hand paint that when we're done. I just have to decide whether or not I'm going to paint a couple of different colors in here. Now, one thing I need to do is I need to close this up so these things aren't rolling on me. So we're going to fire up the hot glue gun. And it looks like we need another round in the chamber. I moved it over here and outsmarted myself, which, depending on what day of the week, may not be a very difficult task. Okay. Well, you know, I don't like Games Workshop business model, right? Because it doesn't work for me, who takes a long time getting things up, and then they all of a sudden, like, oh, we're not going to support that anymore. Like, that's the problem I have with it. I don't care that they're expensive. I think that their products are relatively pretty good. I just don't care about the lore. It's the subject matter that doesn't interest me. With that said, you know, if you're playing with the right people, if I'm playing Mitch and stuff, like they're playing Epic all the time now. I didn't really get into it for different reasons, but, you know, if you got the right people playing a game, it doesn't really matter what you're playing, you know? That BFG one, I think, is the one I'm looking forward to see how it comes out. I got lots of tubing. It just seems it uses up 3 build slots. So if you put it on a vehicle that only has, you can't put it on a buggy, you can't put it on a truck, you can't put it on a car. If you put it on a truck, it's the only thing it has, and it has to be front firing. Because if it was rear firing, that might be fun, right? Fire it off and you get an extra move. But, you know, you go back. So then you start getting into like the bus, heavy truck, tank, you know. Well, I've got some ideas for tanks, but I'm not too excited to do them. They just look. I've done plenty of tanks, right? Like, tanks are made for battle. It's more fun to use things that don't look like they should be in battle. And I came really close, Tri-Tart, to picking up a tow truck. I came really close, but it wasn't tow trucky enough. Now, next time I go to Hobby Lobby, if I see them, I'm going to put some pictures so I can show you. There's a lot of tow trucks out there, but they're like, you know, 1950s style tow trucks. Like I said, I want to get one for the holidays for sure. I'll have one that's missile equipped. That way it could be mistletoe, you know. I could also do a Toe Jam and Earl. Hey, if you guys know what Toe Jam and Earl, extra points. All hail Sega Genesis. I didn't have one. I just knew people who had them. I'm gonna try to glue this thing in here without it being attached. I don't want to attach it just yet because we want to put the. I don't think I'm going to put glass in this one. We're just going to put the mesh over it. Well, there are, dude. I've got like 5 or 6 rig equipment. I just haven't done it yet. These guys aren't rigs. These trains, they're just, you know, they're just heavy trucks. I don't know. It sounds like it's good on paper. You know, every time you build something, I feel like I learned something about it. You know, the game's fun to play, but honestly, I like building these things just for the reason to build them. You know. Yeah, it's the people that get offended in place of other people that really bugs me. Like, for instance, if I'm playing this trans car, right? Like, I want it to win, right? And if somebody might think, oh, that's cool that you included us in something, you know, and then somebody else like, I can't believe you put a trans thing in there. So you don't want people to be included, you know? It's like, you know, stop being offended for other people, you know. I can tell you one thing. I don't think there'd be a single redneck that if I did a rednecks team, they wouldn't feel completely included in it, and they'd be happy. You know, I like all of the teams. They're all cool. You know, that's the whole point. A tow truck, toe jam and Earl. That's a blast from the past. Yeah, there you go. You go back and look at it now. Looks like, you know what game of the Sega Genesis is I loved? Star Control. Star Control was a great freaking game. Now, I wouldn't play it now because I'm not a retro gamer. Like, it's like, you know, hey, I know you went to prison. Would you like to go to prison again? I said, no, I've already been in prison. I don't need to go again. You know, I'd be like, I don't want to relive all that stuff. You know, Fury Road. I haven't seen those movies on purpose. Well, my daughter showed interest in watching them, and so we're going to take her up on that and watch them when she's available. Okay, so this fits nicely. I'm going to go ahead and put the mesh on. We might let's see what options we have on the front. Okay. Neverhood was another game I remember. I don't remember that one. Tow Truck would be cool. I remember the Toe Jam and Earl game. My friend liked that a lot. Didn't play it much. That game was a game where it was isometric, but it was at an angle. So it was almost like Q*bert. We're going way back. And it was difficult because I want to go this way, and sometimes you'd screw up and go straight south and run into somebody was like throwing tomatoes or something at you. It was a game that wasn't that difficult, but it was the difficult part in it is like, okay, I want this guy to do this, and then doing it. Like it's I think it was a borderline jumpy game, and I don't like those jumpy games. You know, like freaking stressful. I don't think it was Star Control. It was an open world space game on the Sega Genesis. It was way ahead of its time. Well, Star Control, what was unique about Star Control was that there was like this campaign mode, and it was all like stars, right? And it was like a helix, you know, like a DNA helix type thing. So this one would go, if you wanted to move from one place to the other, you had to kind of figure out which way it went. And it didn't tell you which way to travel until you were at that star or the planet or whatever. And then when you fought over a planet, the planet would actually feature on the screen. But it's one of those, like, you know, here's your screen, and when you go up to the top, off the top of the screen, you come back up off the bottom kind of thing. But it had some scrolling. It was just really cool. I think it was ahead of its time, you know. And you had, like, you know, you had the aliens, and then you had the good guys, supposedly. And the good guys had, you know, an Earthling type, almost like a Star Trek type of thing that fired one missile, and it was slow, but it looked like a big penis. Like, not the missile, but the actual ship. And then there was, you know, this one thing that we called the Booger. I called it the Booger. It was an alien ship that was like the smallest class. So you had, like, you know, like destroyer, cruisers, couple cruisers, and then, you know, you worked your way into like the battleship or whatever. And they all had something that the other one didn't have. It was almost kind of like DBA in a way that's like, oh, this is good all the time. No, because sometimes the thing that's the weakest is the thing that's the most powerful against it. Phantasy Star. Starflight. I don't remember that one. Not really a hockey fan, but we played Blades of Steel. We had a Sega Genesis Hockey League. And so, you know, this is before there was internet or anything. So they knew some people, and they turned in their game scores, and these guys were, you know, deluxe nerd burglars. I didn't have a Sega Genesis. I just had friends that had one. It's like, okay, on Tuesday we're going to come over, and everybody took a team. I had the Penguins because I like Penguins and I like the colors of the Penguins. Not that I give a shit about Pittsburgh, but that was the team that I got. And this was like 1993, something like that. You know, it's fun. Like, I don't want to watch football, but I'll play football games like Madden and stuff like that. I like that stuff because it's like a war. There's strategy. You know, I just don't like football because just sitting like a bump on a log on the couch, not doing anything. You know, I don't get it. But like, if I get to make decisions, yeah, I'm in for that. You know. See what my options are for the front of this Joker. You guys think General Yeet is just fine? Or is a little too millennial? Or what's after the millennials? I don't know. Generation Y. You guys are probably millennials, but you are, but you're not. Okay. What do we got here? This has something for a cannon, for a gun to go in. We built this thing, didn't we? I think we did. Let's see. I took a photo of it. I really need to sit down and make these cards before I lose track of these papers and have to rebuild them, which isn't a big deal. It's just kind of. It's not the part I enjoy. I enjoy designing them. I don't enjoy actually having to make the card. That's not it. Okay, it's gonna be a car. It's going to have nitro. That's 18. Roll cage is 22. Which means I have 5 points left. So it's going to be something like, rockets or something like that. No, I can't. Roll cage uses one of them. So that would be like a minigun. Another redneck vehicle with a minigun. Not that one. Something on the roof. That way I don't have to paint a big pseudo rebel-like flag on the roof. That's going to take a lot of time. I'll paint it on the doors instead. Well, then you got to paint 2 of them. Oh well. You can paint it back here, the back. You know. Let's move that over there. All right. So we're not going to have anything in the window. So we don't need to have a. Man, I go through these things like crazy because they look really cool. That one fits. That one fits good. I don't want to use this one. We'll save this one for a couple miniguns in the top. Same thing with that one. So the question is, do we want? Yeah, but what I meant is I associate millennials with like everybody that came after me. And there's like, 2 generations after millennials. But I was like, if somebody says, that's my immediate, when somebody's like, oh, they don't know how to, they're a sissy or whatever, oh, just being a millennial. I'm not saying you are, you know what I mean? Like, so. I think I like this. I think I like that. This one's maybe a little too cool. We'll do mesh all the way around on the other ones. Okay? And instead of doing tight mesh, we're going to do big mesh on this one. We're going to do big mesh on the back, big mesh on the sides. So we'll glue all this stuff on before we go any further. And that's why I wouldn't want to glue this thing in, because we can just attach it this way. You know what I'm talking about. People your age are like, My daughter, when she goes to school, said she goes, "Man, if my friends at school knew that I went to the gun range with you, what? Oh, they couldn't be friends with me." I'm like, "We're just killing cardboard, man, and being safe." You know. What happened, man? Reagan died and everything went to hell. What happened? All right. This is definitely working. Don't buy this size super glue. It is a freaking waste. Okay? This is 4 grams for like $4. And for like $5 you can get 20. Now, you got to squirt it somewhere and apply it by hand, but like, why am I going through super glue so fast? Because there's like 4 grams in there. Like, holy smokes, no wonder. Man, it was hot today. I don't know how it was in South Carolina, but it was freaking hot here. We were going for a walk after work. I'm like, "Honey, I don't want to go for a walk. I've been outside checking stuff." I'm like, that's the first thing I want to do when I get home is take a shower. Even more so today. Get me out of these dusty ass clothes. But anyways, the last couple builds I've done, I've been really happy with. So with these trains, that's definitely going to be able to push the envelope. You know, I've really enjoyed doing some airbrushing on it, trying to get better at the airbrushing. Not that bad. It's just, I don't have the level of confidence that I do in the. Well, I'm getting there. I think it's a lot. It's been a lot better. This year's been really good for that. We try to push the envelope. And like I said, with the exception of the Dirty Cooter, and what else? Oh, and that. All right. So here's what we got. Here's my other part of the brainstorm. See what you guys think of this. I think I showed you this. This turned out well. It just didn't turn out how I wanted it to turn out. Okay? So this is the machine gun shop. Okay? This is just a piece of cardboard. And it came like this. See if I can flip this over. It's not. Okay. It came like this. We sealed up some of these. And it's kind of like a roundhouse. I figured, okay, well, we're going to make different bays for this to be on here. And it looks okay. It looks all right. It just doesn't look like I wanted it to. Which, of course, is, the kiss of death as far as I'm concerned, right? So I just put it off to the side. This and the Dirty Cooter truck are the two things that I think in the last 10 years that I've been like, and I'm kind of bummed out how it turned out. Because either it didn't turn out well and I changed it and I was happy with the results, or I was happy with the results from the get-go. But I'm thinking this might be a good base for these truck guys, for the train guys, because it is kind of like a roundhouse. And if you know anything about trains, they're in a roundhouse. So, maybe, we'll see. We'll see. This isn't bad, it's just going to get used for something else. So. You good? Oh, no. Okay. All right. Love you. All right. So let's go, and we're going to need this. Because these boxes, now that I found a good use for the boxes, was to use them for cardboard. My cardboard supply at work is dried out. So now if any box could be something that we paint on. But you can't cut on this because it's got airspace in it. It doesn't have enough resistance to it. Okay, so I may have to replace the blade on this. It was kind of acting up last time, but we'll see how far we can get out of it. I'd like for these to have this finish at the bottom, and I want it to be consistent on both sides. So let's see, we can count the little boxes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go to the top of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to the top of that. And this stuff is so much easier to work with than the real thin, like the repair stuff. Gotta go see the missus. All right, man. Oh, see her off? Careful. Throw something. So throw a chancla at you. That's a shoe for you guys. Everybody should know that. That's like people that don't speak Spanish, if they don't know what water is in Spanish. Like, how do you not know that? How do you go through life? Like, you know, like did you not watch Sesame Street? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. At the edge of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whee! Okay, and then this, we just have to micro trim it. We do have the super readers. Why do I call them super readers? Because they're like $375, $350, something like that. $325, I can't tell. I got to get other readers to read the readers. Doesn't sway. Worn out. $325. They were the strongest ones I could get. Because at one time I'm like, oh, I need to use readers. And then eventually, like, you can get too close and you can't see things that well with these. So then we just pull the old contacts off. Yeah, the thin-skinned people. I don't care if they're thin-skinned, but they like to argue about shit. Like they're going to change anybody's mind. And there's lots of stuff I don't like on a daily basis. I don't feel like, you know, I need to post it all over the internet. Like, who cares? You know, you're not going to change anybody's mind. So if you can't change anybody's mind, how about you just focus on, you know, the stuff that you agree on, not your disagreements. Okay, this looks good on both of these. I'd like for it to sit down here so that it meets the bottom of this. And how does the top look with that? It looks okay. It could probably stand to lose a little off this top. So it's a good video of a Hispanic mom throwing her shoe and hitting her kid long distance. They get crazy accurate with them sandals. Yep. Yeah, she have an Olympic sport, but then, you know, wouldn't really be fair then, would it? Some people that have some intrinsic advantages. La Chancla. One of my Mexican vehicles is going to be called La Chancla. Like I said, I've liked all the vehicles. Let's trim this down to nothing, almost there, and Let's see, make sure we do it equivalent. I think I'm gonna have to do. Oh boy, left-handed. Pray for me. I think we got it. Yep. How'd these wheels go? Perfect. Now, if you really moved them, you could probably get them rolling again, but this hot glue gun is so user-friendly. You know, you got to get used to not being ham-fisted with things anyways. It's good practice. Not being ham-fisted. Well, it sounds like you need to go to George W. Bush School so he can dodge those flying shoes. Remember that? He was in some press thing out in the Middle East and somebody threw a shoe at him, which I guess is like the biggest insult. I could think of a lot of things I'd rather be thrown. A lot of things that'd be worse being thrown at than a shoe, but that's just me. I'm not exactly from the Middle East. Or the Center East. So again, this is one of these things. I gotta work on this so that I can prime it. And when I'm priming it, can't do anything with this, we'll work on the trains. That way you always got to be working on it. I would much rather just be like, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to finish this start to finish. But it just doesn't work that way. You're going to bring up old GW, but decided to steer away from that combo. Well, you know, look, what's the problem with them? They got people that own stock. So then you got to make decisions that are, you know, stupid. They got to make corporate decisions. And I wasn't an anti-corporate person, but I also didn't think the corporations were in cahoots with the government. All of them. So. Alright, so this is sitting pretty nice right here. I like that angle that it's at. Leaving that little thing. So I'm going to actually continue this line. This, by the way, is the stuff by Creepy Hero Studios. I guess lots of different people make it. They happen to have it. It's relatively inexpensive. You get a lot, especially if you're frugal with it. I try to be frugal with it. It's stupid to be wasteful. Now, if we start on the corner here, we're going to go to there. Okay, and on that line that we cut, oh, by the way, happy TGIF. Now it's Friday. We're going to cut across here, this one. I hate to sound like I'm frugal, but it's stupid to be wasteful. Just on principle. Let's say the stuff was free, but you could only get one at a time. It's a pain in the ass to have to reorder. You know? Colonel Clusterfuck. Yeah, when he was running for re-election, his plane landed, his Air Force One landed on our little airport. So I got within 30 feet of him, probably. Whatever. I'm not a groupie. All right, let's take care of this one. I think this is perfect. I think that's perfect. So we just need to make another copy of it like this. And I don't want to flip it upside down because I like the bottom to look the same. We call this car kernel clusterfuck. Although I think it could be a little bit more haphazard than that. Now we're not making it like the Dukes of Hazzard. We're not going to weld the door shut. I had to look that up. Like, why did they like climb in through there? It's like, well, the door was welded because of NASCAR. And I'm like, it was? I'm like, okay. I don't remember. I hadn't seen it in. The only reason I watched that show is I was 7. Or whatever age I was. 7, 8. It always bugged me that they lived in some imaginary county. I kept looking like, where the hell is this Hazard County in Georgia? Oh, it's just made up. I'm like, why would you make that up? I didn't get it yet, you know. I think we need to go here. Across like so, and hopefully it's close. It's a little too tall, I think, so we'll just cut one level off. Didn't he almost croak from choking on a pretzel? Who, Bush or Boss Hogg? That sounds like something Boss Hogg would have croaked on. That's that time period when people were on TV, and you're like, oh, this guy's probably like 62 years old that plays him. Now he's like 42 or something like that. I'm like, well, you look like shit. Somebody's got a drinking problem. You're looking like that when you're that age. Like Sanford and Son. Fred Sanford is like 48 years old. Like, man. That's not even middle aged. 48 isn't even middle aged. Wow. Oh, it's worse than Caddyshack. Well, I've never seen Caddyshack. Now, why haven't I seen it? When did it come out? 1981. How old was I in 1981? 10. Do I have any older brothers and sisters? No. How the hell am I going to see it? You know? So I've never seen it. You know what movie is overrated that I saw within the last 5 or 6 years? And I don't understand what the big deal was about it. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Never saw it. Came out in 82. I'm 11 years old. How the hell am I going to see that? Right? Like, I don't understand what the big to-do what is about it. You know, was it terrible? No. Was it that big of to-do? No. Sanford Son based on British TV. Really? Steptoe and Son. Hey, Derek. Happy Friday. Well, you're on recovery. Every day's Friday for you. Actually, technically, every day's Saturday. Unless that's a day that you'd like do housework, in which case it's Sunday. Steptoe. I read recently that, I don't know whether this is true or not, because I'm looking up his age. And that's not his real name, obviously, but he wanted to create a name, so he used like I think he had a brother or something like that. Something happened to him, like he died or he was in jail, or he wanted to honor his brother, so he ended up using his brother's name. I didn't know that, but I can't really say that I watched that show. Didn't they drop the N word in and out of that show? Like, people's minds would just explode, you know. People's minds would explode if, you know. I'm not saying you should bring that back. I'm just saying that times are changing. What is we? Okay, we need to close this a little bit. What I want to see is when Lee will be here tomorrow morning. I said, see if Lee stops by. See if Lee gets excited about the trains, because Lee's a train guy. Okay, it looks like it's the right height here. I think it's a little tall there, but it actually looks good. It looks good, so we're gonna... You found Caddyshack funny? I don't think Bill Murray's that funny. I'm not saying he sucks, I'm just saying he's not that funny. You know, but... Sometimes it's who you see something with. Like, if you see something with the right person, or the person that almost like puts laughter fuel on something, it's even funnier. You know, like the movie that I started watching this movie. I don't know what it was. It's this movie that like nobody likes except Mitch and I. Like, I've mentioned it so many times. People either haven't seen it, which I don't mind that they hadn't seen it, but because it is kind of like a B movie. It didn't really get promoted a whole lot. But it's called Hardcore Henry. And the reason why it's so funny, it's all shot in the first person, it's because there's things in it that you do in video game first person shooters that you get to see it in live action, the same type of stuff. And it's some really funny, there's some Deadpool style humor in it, or whatever. It's very violent. It's really hilarious stuff happens, you know, if you're, I guess if you appreciate some of that stuff. But I started watching it. I watched it about maybe 3 minutes, and I'm like, I gotta stop watching this. I gotta watch this with Mitch, because he would appreciate it. And sure enough, we laughed our ass off. You know, if you see movies like, you know, Liar Liar in the movie theater with the right people, really funny. Sometimes you watch stuff alone and you're like, okay. But as they say in Spanish, te da cuerda, he winds you up, right? You watch it with somebody and they're like the right humor thing, and they like watching it with somebody else just fires you up, you know? Mitch is not a train guy. No. I used to be a train guy. My dad was a train guy. That's what my dad always wanted, to have a train set up, and he did when we lived in Alabama. He had a whole room, you know, like an 8x10 room, a standard room that the train was in. It was like, you know, put that paper that had the little stuff on there. It wasn't anything that looked realistic, but it was, you know, what he liked, and he'd always had them. He had some old engines from River Rossi and stuff like that. They're still around. They don't run, but they're still around. And it can't be in everything, so. The problem with trains, I've noticed, is, and I don't mean to pick on anybody in particular, but as a general rule, and models, some people that are into it don't have a lot of spark. I was going to say it in Spanish, chispa. It's funny. I think in English, but there's some sayings that just work better in Spanish. And that's one of them, just spark. You know, like energy, caffeinated personality kind of thing, you know? deal with some of the modelers and train people. Like it's like people that are older and they act older. You know, it's like when I went through the drive-through. I went through the drive-through with this drive-through that we have nearby, and they're new. It's a Chick-fil-A, and usually they have the best drive-through of any of the other people because the other drive-throughs are extremely incompetent. But they have this thing where they want to write down what vehicle you have. I guess so when you get up to the other window, they know who you are. They want your name and what car you have, and you know what vehicle you have. So it was kind of late at night, and I go through there, and the girl who's generation what A or B or whatever the hell it is. I mean, he said they're barely 18, 16, whatever. So, is this a Buick? I stopped in my tracks. Said, you know, I'm never going to be old enough to have a Buick. Like I'm always. I enjoy playing games with people that have a, you know, energetic. You know, it's exciting when exciting things happen in a game. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with building models, man. I like getting excited about stuff. You know, not the point where you're picking fights or, you know, you're a sore loser or stuff like that, but just, you know, it's exciting. You see my DBA videos, you know what I'm talking about. So, that type of thing. Trim a couple of these little things off. No, Mitch is not a train guy. He wouldn't be able to, you know, hey, what's a 4884? He wouldn't know, you know. Name one railroad. I should ask you, Mitch, name one railroad company that, whether they're around or not. I mean, everybody should be able to say Santa Fe or Union Pacific. You could at least say that. You don't expect to do, you know, oh, you didn't know, you know, Canadian National or something like that. You know, it's no, not a train guy. Okay, this one's going to be for this side. We're going to put that over here. Let's ultra trim this one. So one of these trains is going to be Norfolk and Waypal. Now, it's funny because I had a coworker who had said that it would work its way into different conversations. So I thought he invented it. That's what I was going to do it. I gave him credit for it. And come to find out, I looked it up the other day, and apparently it's like according to the internet, whatever that means, it's a recurrent thing on the Bob and Tom show, which I used to listen to the Bob and Tom show whenever the heck it was on. I don't remember that coming up. Bob and Tom show was actually really funny. But he's still going to get credit for it, so I'm still going to give him credit because he's the one that I thought invented it. But yeah, it's just train engines like that's stupid until you realize, oh, they don't have to be engines; they just have to look like. Is Trans-Pacific a train? No, Union Pacific. Union Pacific. I guess you could have a trans train too, but, you know. We don't want to be too inclusive. They're only a small percentage of the population, right? You know, why are half your vehicles trans? You know, gotta take it, can't take it too far. Now there's very few railways now. They've all merged or gone out of business or both. Union Pacific, Southern Pacific. Yeah, Southern Pacific had a really good paint scheme. It was like dark gray and like red, but a little bit of an orangey red. Yeah. I always like Union Pacific. It's kind of like a classic color. Union Pacific's still around. Norfolk Southern is the one that's around here in the South. That used to be, you know, Southern and Burlington Northern, and all these get combined into different things, and now there's like four major ones. There was even one called Florida East Coast. Guess what ran? So, but all the engines are steam engines, or they look like steam engines. So they're all going to be heavy trucks. They're all going to be able to put out smoke, because that makes sense. Only cost 1 point and no build slot. They're all going to have Rams. Western Pacific, yep. I believe there was. Rock Island, Sioux Line. I mean, there was probably 50 rail lines, in the 40s. Just eventually 50, probably 50. I just mean the United States that went into Canada as well. About 50, probably. Santa Fe. I was never a fan of Santa. I never, but it's a classic. Those F7 type of. Oh, we're nerding out over trains now. The F7 type of 1950s. Actually, I think they're actually from the 40s style of diesel. Some of the first diesels that were out there. The round front looking engines. You look at any place say like, oh, what do I train for my kids? It always came with that Santa Fe thing. All right, you get going. The train quiz will be on tomorrow morning. I hope you prepare for it. It's cool. I came across somewhere recently that was, I think it might have been on a train page. No, it must not have been because I don't subscribe to a train page. And once again, somebody was surprised that they didn't know about Rod Stewart and his trains. I thought that was common knowledge. Yeah, supposedly, I didn't know this, when he was touring, I thought it was just at his home. When he was touring, he would get another hotel room for his train set. I guess he had a traveling train set with him, and he built it when he was... Hey, that's better than doing fucking drugs, There was a game called Rail Baron or Boxcars, depending on who published it, that had all the train lines listed. I have one that I absolutely love, okay? And Marty actually gave me a copy of it. It's called Empire Builder. It's one of those crayon games. Absolutely love the game. Warning, I'm very good at it. It's a lot of what I do for work. It's like, okay, well, you pick up this because when you go and deliver something else, maybe you'll get the card that has this, and you just keep everything full. I really like that game. One of my favorite board games of all time. Now, he gave me the smaller version of it called Empire Express. It might actually be better than Empire Builder, but it's just the northeast of the United States. It's like you draw and you get cards. It's a fun game. It's a fun game. But one of my least favorite games of all time is also a train game. It's called 1830. I absolutely fucking hate that game. It looks like ass. It's a lot of stock trading. So it involves, it's one of those games that isn't user friendly because not only do you don't have really a chance of winning at all as a new player, even if somebody helps you. So, I personally, I'm not necessarily have to be competitive, but if there's not a chance of winning, why are you even playing a game? So there's like stock trading and that whole, okay, well, I'm going to do this now so I can like go 2 turns in a row and get an advantage. And, and there's some railway building to do along the way, but it's really minimalistic. It's mainly a stock trading type game, and I just don't like stock trading type games. I generally don't like games where you bid on stuff. Now there are exceptions. There's a couple of bidding There's a couple of bidding games that I like. I only remember the name of one of them, and it is excellent. And it is a last hurrah of Avalon Hill games called, I believe it's called Vegas Showdown, where you're basically bidding on parts of a casino to build and scoring points building a casino. It looks really good. It's simple to understand, but multifaceted. But when you have a game that's multifaceted and it's difficult to understand, I don't enjoy those. The fact that it's multifaceted is great. You want to play at a different time, maybe do something different. Where's super glue on? Did I put it down here when I wasn't supposed to? Yes, I did, dumbass. I must have been talking with my hands. No, Mitch is not a train guy. Mitch is not a World War II guy. There's a lot of World War II stuff he don't know. That's okay. He knows about Napoleonics. I don't know jack shit about Napoleonics. And proud of it. But I use games to learn about real stuff. That's why I like historical games. So I've been playing whatever that game is with Dawn. Not very often. Once a week, maybe even less than that. War Thunder. You know, I have more than an average person's knowledge of aircraft, but it's definitely my weak point in World War II stuff. You know, but you get to fly stuff, and then like, okay, read about it, like, oh, that's why this one didn't do good at that, and you know, you get to participate in history, so to speak. You know. You don't get that if you're like, oh, I want to learn more lore about Games Workshop stuff. Like, I don't care, you know. Now, let's see how stellar this looks. Oh, yeah. Now, I think in there was a hood vent. I think I tried to look for it. Now I have extra engines and shit like that. I don't really want to put something like that on it, even though it looks pretty cool. Although you're wondering why is the case for the valves that high up? Like what's going on down there? Maybe if you had like machine guns or something like that shooting out of it, that would make sense. I know just enough about cars to be dangerous. I think this modern type minigun is probably going to be the one to do. So I want to look through here and make sure I don't have. It is going to have nitro, right? Well, you know, we could put that on there. All right, I got to use the little boys' room. I'll be right back. Now I'm going to get and refill the tea. Yeah, that's my problem. I have a drinking problem. Liquids, not alcohol. You got to go too. If you got a little chore, you're going to catch hell if you don't do it now. Uh-oh. All right, man. Thanks for stopping by. All right. Oh, wrong readers. Oh, we got a reader collection here. Let's get the super readers on. All right. So I think we're going to do the minigun on it. Oh, I guess I'll dump this and see what the hell we have in here. And on one hand, you're like, well, why don't you just organize this stuff? You can find things quicker. But the problem is that, yeah, it's not that useful. Now I gotta sort it and put everything back where it goes. The problem is it's got little containers and they're too, my fingers are too fat for it. I've never considered myself having like really big fingers, but when you're dealing with things that are really small. What's the store here? Okay. It's not that. Not this, not this, not this. I just hate to find it after I put everything away. Now here's another minigun option. We'll put that one off to the side. All this stuff is either by Switchyard Studios, which is the first person I ordered things from, or Creepy Hero. I've ordered from them both twice. I don't have a preference. They make different things, fortunately. They make different style things. Here's another minigun. And they're totally compatible. So they're both pretty affordable. I didn't tell them to raise their prices by that. I'm just saying that, There we go. Let's save one of those things, just in case. Freaking lasers. I could be wrong. There might not be one here. But I thought there was. There's another minigun. Probably won't go with that one, but we'll move it off to the side. Chores. I don't want to do any chores on Friday. Sounds like a chore. I couldn't do one of the things I normally do on Friday, which is go by the car wash and wash my car. I work at a very, this is what I was looking for. I work at a very dusty, lime rocky type of place. So, I have one of those subscriptions to the car place, and I go on Fridays, and I've never seen it as busy as it was. I'm not. I would have taken me 45 minutes to get through there. I'm like, nope, we'll go tomorrow morning or whenever. Today has already been too frustrating for a lot of things. It's not. That was what I was looking for, and I found it. If you give up, you don't find things. Persistence is the key to victory. I just made that one up. Maybe somebody famous actually said it sometimes, but I wasn't aware that they said it, so I'm claiming it for me. Do we want to put a wang back here? Maybe, but if I do, it wouldn't be this one. Nope, we'll save that for something else. This is what I was looking for. This little manifold. I don't know. I wanted to say manifold. I don't think that's really a manifold. All right, on the top, this could totally work. This is the same gun that's on Jerry Skids, which is a redneck vehicle. So I like that. This one's kind of approved. This one's kind of futuristic. And this one, I believe, is the one that's on the Ferrari. We're going to go with this one because it is a long gun and doesn't fit on a lot of things, and it happens to work on this one. Although we're going to have to do a little bit of modification because this window sticks up a little higher and we have an issue here. So maybe take a piece of plastic. See if I got a remainder of one of these shims. A shim remainder. That's awfully tall, but it would do the trick. So I'm thinking of a credit card. I got a bunch of like extra hotel keys, credit cards. Here's some. That's definitely thinner, about half as thin. That should be enough to do it. All right. Compliments of Marriott. JW Marriott, actually. Oh, Mr. JW there. All right. We need a skizzer. We don't want this to be very wide. And I don't mind pre-measuring, but some of these materials, it's hard to find something that'll write on it. Now this might actually have metal through it. I think that thickness is good. Let's square this thing off. Man, today was so hot. Well, it was hot because I wasn't expecting it. It got into the 90s. At least the evenings aren't super hot. It will be. Just you wait. All right, that's too big. No worries. I think we would still cut it down a little bit. This is squarer than this side. And I'm not using an X-Acto knife because, believe it or not, this would take forever with an X-Acto knife. Could still cut down a little bit more. Aren't you fucking up your scissors? Yep, they're all you fucked up. No harm, no foul. I think we're going to round these corners off. Clippers work great for this. Just give it a little bit of finish. Not doing anything fancy, just making it look more civilized. And, you know, I don't mind having this little plate on here. It had to reinforce the roof or it'll, you know, crumple. I don't know, make up whatever fake story you want. No ram on it. We're probably going to paint a red Knicks flag. So remember, that's like the Confederate flag, except the colors are opposite. And no stars on it. I'm going to use the slow super glue. The reason I'm going to do it is I want this thing centered in the roof. And sometimes you got to act like you're being chased by wild dogs when you're using the normal super glue. It dries way too fast on you. So I did not know about this stuff until I watched an assembly video a couple years ago, and I've only found Walmart that has this. Now, unfortunately, this is the 4-gram stuff. You only get 4 grams, and it's like $6 freaking. But this has a purpose, and that is the slow super glue. So it's not just a standard super glue. So another thing that I did not know is I would normally smudge the whole thing, and just using some dots seems to work better. Of course, it kind of acts like honey sometimes, or whatever those tears are, whatever the eye-wetting drops that are. When I put this in the center. Now this is the part where I wish it would just turn into the fast super glue, because I'm going to have to hold this thing down. And again, would I have been better off doing this before I painted it? Maybe, but sometimes, I want to paint what I know. Like, let's see how it looks in gray. Okay, that's the look that I have. All right, well, let's change it. One step at a time. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, we're not going to use the slow super glue for this, because this should be easier to line up. Make sure we don't have any of these little, call them nibs, but they're not really nibs, almost like pimples. All right, here we go. Okay, and all of this will be primered in black. Now at this point, there's nothing in there that we need to have the two pieces separate. So I'm going to go ahead and use hot glue gun and smudge this in here. Why do you use hot glue gun? Well, there's nothing more gap filling than this that I can think of. Maybe caulk, that'd be a bad choice. And if I have to pull it apart, for whatever reason, I can. If I use epoxy, well, I've gone away from using epoxy. It's too wasteful. And I got some epoxy that's kind of has gone south. I've had it a while, and I used it quite a bit, but this was originally dark blue, almost cobalt metallic, had a big Hot Wheels logo on the side, which doesn't really work for me because I don't mind that it's a Hot Wheels car. We're representing a supposed real car, so we don't want, that on it. All right, so we're going to do the front end is going to be primer in black plus all these other spots on here. And again, we can't do anything with it because if we paint now, we're going to end up getting some of the super glue on our brush and throwing the brush away. So that's where we step aside and put, got to decide whether or not we're going to do this or not. Shit, I'm getting ahead of myself. No, I'm not going to do it because part of the appeal of this is that it has the nostalgia look of the General Lee without being the General Lee, and the General Lee doesn't have that. So, okay. So we're probably going to have we're probably going to paint the flag here on the trunk. It's, first of all, rectangular shape dish. I'll just have to come in a little bit. Should be easy to even that out. All right, we'll leave that out there. We'll leave that out there. All right, let's take a look at where is. I don't know that I need to take these apart. I don't know that I need to take these apart. Now, this one has some writing on here, which I'd have to remove it. So that when I spray paint over it, it doesn't look taller than the other ones. We've got two of these. This has like an exoskeleton here. Here's the other one that's clear. And then this guy, West Coast Flyer. Okay. Looks smaller. So, this one's going to be the Russian one. This one's going to have the skull on the front. This one's going to have the cannon through it. And then this one will just, we're not going to change the body on this one a whole lot. This one's actually sealed up. This is not sealed. So I may have to take these apart. What is, oh, this is a plastic, oh, are we, let's see if we can get away with doing this. I normally wouldn't use this, but since it is plastic, let's use this drill bit. Let's see if we can't make a massive mess. I just don't want to go to the garage where it's fucking hot. Now these pegs, because this body is plastic, these pegs are plastic. I would have already been done with the drill bit. Almost. All we're doing is just going on the edges and so this will pop off. Comrades, pop off. I used a lot of ass. I don't have a whole lot of power yet. I don't have a whole lot of power in that. Okay, let's look at this. This one is also plastic. Is this one also plastic? Let's go get a drill. Bring it back. We'll do it in here. So historically, I am not a tool guy. And the reason I'm not a tool guy, historically, is because honestly, if you don't have a place to put your tools where you can find them quickly when you need them, it's a pain in the ass. Now, about 2 years ago, I got a toolbox where everything is in there. And, I actually had a lot more stuff than I thought I did. But the fact that I didn't have one place to go to get them, definitive, was a pain in the ass. So now I can grab stuff and find it immediately. So I forgot I even had this thing. So that's plenty of ass for what we're going to do here. Let's put this away. And we're just using a regular drill bit. We're just going through plastic. And we should have plenty of ass on this, right? 3 dots, okay. So we're just going to go through the middle. This is just plastic, so. Alright. One second. I haven't used this in a long time. Hold on, this thing has a speed. There we go. Loosen it up. I think so. And then this one here. Works better in the garage. I don't have all these flakes in here. That's what a vacuum cleaner's for. Now we should be able just to pull this stuff out. And we're loose here, right? Yes, we are. Okay. And same thing over on this one. It's just plastic, so. All right, what do we got inside? Couple of wheels and the body. This is going to have to be painted separately because it's going to be a royal you-know-what to get in here in between all these things. Okay, cool. Life would be so much easier if it wasn't riveted, right? If it was just like, oh, just unscrew it. Even if it was one of those weird shaped screws, like those triangle screws or something, like anything would be like much easier. All right, let's do the same one. This is my preference, by the way. Because you can do two things. You can either have, occasionally find somewhat the outside is metal and then the bottom is also metal, then you're screwed, right? Then it's metal on metal and God help you. But usually one of the two pieces is plastic. On most Hot Wheels, the base is plastic and the top is metal. On most. In this case, it's the opposite. If it's like this, it's literally the easiest ones to take apart. I think we did that there, right? Nearly. And I watched the video on how to take them apart and bought the right drill bits. No. Even with the metal cutting ones, it is a nightmare. I know we're close. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Now the Iron Ivan is going to be armored. It's going to have the armored thing in it. So we're going to use up one of the build slots with armor. So if this is the Iron Ivan, we're going to probably put something so it's covered that way. Only because this one looks the most Soviet. It looks more Soviet than these. So. And I could just use a bigger drill bit, but I don't have one. I don't have one in here. I don't think the one I have over here is bigger. Maybe it is. Maybe it. Oh, you know what? I got a whole set of them over here. Where were they that they almost tipped over? At the beginning of the show. They were right here. That they almost tipped over. They gotta be in view. There they are. It's the biggest one I have. Might be too big. Could always go by hand. Now I actually bought this to drill out the palm trees. Actually, I got this specifically to drill out the palm trees and put a magnet in. This matches the magnet. So honestly, don't even need to use the power version. This should have just enough ass, and I already loosened it up there. Because there's plastic stuff underneath. I don't want to go through it and ruin it. Okay. And this one's just the same, just there's different colored plastics on it. Vladimir, our American craftsman, how you doing? How is it that I show up when you do Soviet stuff all the time? I think it's just, lucky Soviet timing. I don't know. How you doing, my friend? I don't like the hammer and sickle thing, but I like the red star. I think the red star is really cool. No, I'm not sucking up to you. I've said it before. I like Russian stuff. Chinese, CCP stuff, those guys are nothing to get excited about. But I like Soviet stuff. And I like the red star. The red star looks good on planes. And so this is going to be Iron Ivan. It's going to be a locomotive. It is a truck that looks like a locomotive. Okay, that's the storyline behind it. And it's probably going to have. I'm probably going to try to incorporate a tank turret on it. If it works. Yeah, you guys are really cooperating. It's a Friday night. Friday nights usually are not a good showing. As I like to say, I don't want to do a Patreon or anything. I just want you guys to show up and keep me busy. Maybe I can motivate. I don't know. Whatever. I don't do this for the money. I do it for the relaxation, for the therapy. So if I was to do something like a Patreon, that creates more work for me. And it's not like I'm going to be able to retire on that. Like I already have a job I don't like. I don't need to put stuff I don't like in my hobby. So anyways, while you're here, I'm doing Gaslands stuff, and I'm going to have a Oligarch Type 1, and I already have a black Mercedes that I got. So imagine I don't want to hunt it down right now. I have a black Mercedes. This looks really nice. And I've picked up another couple of other Mercedes on here. Yeah, CC. I love ancient Chinese stuff. I really do. Like I've got a lot of DBA, ancient Chinese army. Love that stuff. Just the modern Chinese stuff. Just it's nothing to get excited about. I just don't care for them. It's like North Korea. Who gives a shit? I don't care about that stuff. Yeah, so let's take this thing apart. It's probably going to make it easier to paint all the parts because we've got to prime them and stuff. This is going to be the Iron Island. If I knew you were here, I would have poured myself some vodka. And we need to get that Russian standard vodka back. Yeah, can't get that stuff anymore because, you know. It's funny, I went to a war game show. I don't know if I told you this story. And I had gone to this restaurant and they gave us like 32-ounce beers and I had 2 of them. I didn't drink them fast or anything. I was a little loopy. So I go back to the show and one of the guys is like, hey, you want some, go talk to so-and-so. He always has bourbon. So I go over there. The guy's from Holland. He always has bourbon. I say, hey, I told me you had some bourbon here. I said, no, but I got this. And he brought out this big Russian standard vodka thing. It was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, whatever. I'm like, I've never had straight vodka before. I'm not a big drinker. I don't drink, basically, but I enjoy the idea of it. And so he gave me a solo cup and about 3 inches of straight vodka. And I was really loopy. And I sipped on that for the next hour and a half, 2 hours, and it sobered me up. You know? It was ridiculous. I'm like, I can drink and I actually enjoyed it. And look, the reality is it tastes better than black coffee. It does. You know? Black coffee, now, it gives you black coffee gives you freaking energy, but so I can be honorary Russian, you know. I really wish modern Russia would have gone with a different flag, because I talked about this the other day. The rules of heraldry are like. They're like ingrained in your psyche, whether you know it or not. And the Russian flag, the stripes, the red and the blue touch each other, and in Western heraldry, that's like a no-no. Like it just looks weird when you see it. So I really wish they would have gone with the navel jack, which is kind of like the cross of St. Andrew, but it has red. It actually kind of looks like the Rednecks flag. I wish they would have gone with that, but you know, they didn't ask me, you know. They didn't ask me. Have you been in Russia a long time? And the reason why is if you have, I have a story to ask you that my geography teacher from 1991 told me. And I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's true. And if you're my age-ish, you would know if it's true. Yeah. Don't you agree? It looks good, man. The Russian naval jack looks awesome. Hey, I just call things like I see them. You know? Russian naval jack. That looks pretty cool. That looks pretty cool. And I like... yeah, no hammer and sickle. There's no more. That didn't work out. Okay? That didn't work out. No hammer and sickle, no crooked spiders. You know? Like, none of that stuff. Oh, hello. You've not been here? Okay. Well, there's a story. I'll tell you the story anyways. I don't know. It wasn't recent. Like he told me a story in 1991. So when it was the Soviet Union, he said that he visited it. And he said that in the 80s, I guess when Gorbachev was trying to lighten things up, they put a Pepsi machine in Red Square. This is his story. If it's wrong, he told me the story. I promise you the story is correct. Whether or not it really happened, that's something different. So he said there was this Pepsi machine in Red Square, you know, that was, you know, that's when the McDonald's and stuff were going and stuff like that. So this Pepsi machine in Red Square, and everybody like were waiting in this huge line to wait on it. So it was this type of Pepsi machine that didn't have the individual cans. It was the old ones where you press the button, it would spit out the syrup into a cup. but there weren't more than one cup. It was only one cup and a little wash basin with some water and a brush for you to wash out. So these people were waiting in this line, according to this professor. And he's definitely, this professor definitely liked marijuana. I'm just going to leave that there, and that's before it was really popular like it is now. and he said that, yeah, everybody would drink their Pepsi, and they would put it back, and you'd have to wash the thing with the thing. So everybody's reusing the same cup with the same wash basin and the same water. I don't know if it's true, but it's one of those things that you just never forget. It's a good story. I don't know if it's true. There we go. Boomba! Okay. There we have it. So that's all the parts. I'm going to attempt to add all the nuggets of stuff to this, and then we can go spray paint this in the morning or what have you. Okay? Because they're all going to be sprayed black, all the engines. The reality is most trains are completely black anyways. Now, the Russian one will be an official Forbio. Okay, so the official Soviet green. That's what we're going to start with it. So, sounds like something a few of the potatoes at work would do. I mean, we're suffering, but we're not suffering that much. Yeah, that's pretty extreme. That's pretty extreme. Like, I don't mind sharing a cup with people in my family, but that's it. You know what I mean? Like, we'll go to a theme park, whatever, we'll buy one drink and we'll all drink from it. But, we're not backwashing it. It's just randos, I heard that a couple of months ago, and it's like it just stuck. Randos. Random people, randos. Like, Lando Calrissian, randos. All right. So, let's leave this going so we don't have a problem with it. I really wanted a team called the Gremlins from the Kremlin, but you can't find a model of a Kremlin. And they wouldn't all be driving Gremlins either, but if you've seen that cartoon, you know what I'm talking about. Gremlins from the Kremlin. Bugs Bunny, and it's a Bugs Bunny cartoon, and they got Hitler flying a bomber. It's going to go bomb Moscow or whatever. And the Gremlins come in, and they all they're all wearing little Russian hats or whatever, and they're driving him crazy. They're and parts of the plane are falling off, and I don't think they can have a cartoon with Hitler on it. Why not? I mean, they're trying to kill the bastard. Well, what's wrong with that? All right, so we've got this guy that is ready to go for now. All right, so our designs is we have a BFG. So one of these is going to have a BFG, and it's not going to be, and what I figure is I've got lots of this tubing. It's 10d6, so it needs to be really big, like, well, maybe not this big because you're going to see the bottom of it. And it also needs, if you put this on here, it just kind of looks like just anything, right? I'm probably going to use the black one because it makes more sense. Okay, it's nice that this has this thing over it. But something that looks like a gun, so maybe something like, but all the trains have rams, and I don't know about you, but this doesn't look like it's got much of a ram. So we need to look for rams for these guys, including the Soviet one. Okay, I guess it would be the Russian one, but it's got a red star on it. We might have to add a little plate, a little round plate, so when I put my little red Russian decal on there, I might just hand paint it instead. I don't know, stars are kind of a pain in the ass because they're the 5-point type thing is a pain to freehand. Hello from northern Michigan. Yeah, man, it was hot today, man. Oh, Northwolf, welcome. Beautiful 23 degrees, you rat bastard. It was 93 degrees today. And that's not the worst part. The worst part is I bet there's some people like, I like that it's this warm. Well, go outside, touch grass. That side is miserable. Miserable, I tell you. Let's make sure we don't have something that is perfectly made for this. Like this bastard. But it's just not big enough. Like, it's 10d6. I don't think I have something that just says 10d6, you know? The Soviet Lada miniature. Which Soviet Lada miniature? You're one of the ones that like the heat? Trade places with me. At least the nights aren't hot. It's going to get to a point where it's going to be like 80-something degrees at night. No breeze, and it's like bugs ahoy. Lada miniature. I don't know which one's a Lada miniature. I got a lot of miniatures, but I don't know a miniature about a Lada. I would love to put on this. Remember, these aren't trains. They're heavy trucks that look like trains. I would love to put these tracks on this thing. The problem is if you put tracks, it reduces your gear by 1, and they already have a max gear of 3. And we want them competitive. We want them to, like, you know, we play a game with like cars that are 5s and 3s, and the 3s don't stand a chance. I mean, once they get away from you, like, it's over. Okay, these are cow catchers for trucks. Maybe. Hey, we're having fun here. You guys definitely get a gold star today, keeping me company. I greatly appreciate it. You've been on the forklift all day in the heat. You sure you want to trade? I've been dealing with forklift drivers. No, I haven't been I have not been on the forklift. I haven't driven a forklift in probably 20 years, maybe 25. The first thing I want to do when I get home is shower. We were supposed to go for a walk. I'm like, let's skip the walk today. It's just too damn hot. And again, it's like I wasn't expecting it to be this hot. So it's kind of like a free surprise. All right, let's see what we got here. These guys are here too. Okay. No, this is no, this is like you're gonna plow. Oh, this thing's awesome. It's got like lights and stuff. Well, we got rigs coming, so you know. This looks like something that works when you drive it. I would like to put a ram on it, and I've got cowcatcher looking rams. So no. All right. What else we got? I have a couple of these that I even mentioned. This looks like something that would go on the front of a truck, of a train. Where are those? But now that I think about it, I think they were actually diesel trains. Diesel train looking ones. Yeah, I can't drive a forklift. Then who do you do my paperwork? All right, let's look at one of these. Oh, this is like perfect. It even looks like a train. All right, that's a candidate. Winner! Winner, winner, chicken dinner. I got plenty of them. That's for sure. That's kind of a cow catcher, but oh, you know what? This looks like an Iron Giant. I bet this would look good on the Soviet one. And I don't mind cutting this out and having this fit in here. I think that would look good on the Soviet one. Because remember, it's iron Ivan, so you want to make it look like it's made of iron and shit. Okay, I think that's a potential winner. What else we got here? Need 2 more. This one comes with it. This one comes with a cow catcher. Maybe this one will be the one that's Norfolk and Way Powell. That'll all sort itself out. I'm pretty good at making sure we don't disenfranchise one of the vehicles. This isn't bad. That's not bad. That totally looks like something the Oryx would drive. Okay. Here's another one. There's another cowcatcher looking thing. And these are from Creepy Hero Studios. That Joker puts out a set of Rams like every other week. I remember ordering everything from him, and by the time I ordered, within a couple days, he came up with another set. And I was like, man, I wish I would have known that I would have gotten those two. Oh well, you got to leave something to buy next time. You know what I mean? If you get everything, then you don't have anything to look forward to. All right, this is kind of a, might be too large. It is, and it could work. Because we could cut the ends off some if we need to, but I don't think, well, we got 4 here. Does one of these work okay for this guy? There's kind of a cow catcher here, but we need something that's a little bit more catchy. And you can cut this thing off and then glue this so it fits on, I think, yeah, this would fit pretty well. Oh, this looks awesome. With these big bolts. Oh, this looks awesome. I think we're going to go with those 4. I don't see anything. That's actually one of the things that last time I was looking for Rams, I was like, man, there's some cowcatcher things. I wonder if we could work trains in it. And then I remember seeing trains, and I'm like, well, they're not trains. They're just heavy trucks that look like trains. They're train-inspired. So, I think they will work great for this. And they're going to be relatively expensive vehicles. So it could be something like, 2 of these versus a group that has 4 of them, So, all right. The BFG. All right. One of these is going to have the skull. There is a skull here. I came 2 in a set. I've used one of them on the gas hole. Yes, there's a vehicle called the gas hole. It's named after the driver. And there's another one floating around in here. It's round. It looks awesome. I just don't want everything to be all Hell's Angel-y, apocalyptic. We're going to have to dump this thing again? We are, aren't we? All right. Alibaba. Here we go. All right. We can put some things away because some of these things aren't. We don't need the barrel. We don't need this huge long cannon, although it might work. That's easy to find. Maybe this is what I was thinking of. One of the things. Flamethrower. I'm sure one of these trains will have a flamethrower on it. Those are easy to find. All right, I'm looking for a little round piece. It's like a disc. I believe it's in here. I have one that has like a a skull of a bull or something. That might be good on the western looking one. I don't like those western looking trains like from the time period of like right after the American Civil War. The same reason I don't like the this is what I was thinking of. This looks like something that would go on a train, but it's not a cow catcher. It's not violent looking enough, and this one too. This looks like something would be on a diesel locomotive. It's exactly what it looks like. It even has like little steps where you like step up to like walk around the platform or something like that. Might actually work okay on the back. Might actually work really well on the back, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, like I'm saying lies all the time. Let's keep a couple of these. Let's keep these handy, because I could totally see those being useful, and I could actually flip them so that they are little steps, and then they're back here. Oh my God, it fits exactly well. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, look at that. It fits perfectly. And then we have little steps back here. Oh, hallelujah. Excellent. There's another cow-catchery type. Yeah, that's sharp. I will put that one here. It might take us a little while to make a decision. That's fun. We're having fun. I'm having fun. Are you not entertained? All right, one of these I feel like needs to have this turret with a couple of heavy machine guns on it. So we're going to put the turret over here. I've never worked on this many vehicles at once, but there's a first time for everything. Turning into a futuristic German half-track. As much as I like World War II stuff, I don't really want World War II things per se in this. It's just too easy. I mean, I've got hundreds of World War II vehicles. That I might put that on here. Boy, I'm having a blast just kind of putzing around through all this stuff. Notaki. Okay, this is the one I was thinking of. This could be a BFG. It's just not BFG enough-ish. I'm going to put it over here, though, just in case. Laser weapons, machine guns. Here's another potential one. I guess these Rams worked their way in here as time has passed. Okay, so the other skull is not here, which means it's got to be in the smorgasbord pack. Because I have two. Or I had two. Oh, we got other turret weapons that we're working with. Put that there. Here's the smorgasbord pack that has the tank tracks. And there's the skulls. Got more than one. Just need one on here. Let's not go crazy. I don't like to celebrate death, but these guys are really bad individuals. Like I said, all these people on these teams are folks that the world would be a better place if they were all executed. Anything else cool in here? Not at this time. Okay. Alright, so this is just, it's like the one that's on the front of the gas hole. So one is going to have a cannon running through this. The other one is going to have this. This guy is going to have neither of the two. Now this is normally where a light would be on a train engine, on a locomotive. On the very front of a boiler, of course this isn't really a boiler. This just looks like a boiler. Now, this is slightly curved, and this is not. So when I put this on here, it looks like there's a little bit of a gap. So we could probably use sprue goo on it. This is totally flat. We're going to go ahead and we have a skull in the front of this one. I don't want to get too carried away because we do need to make them legitimate builds. And then this one that has the cannon. It looks like I don't have a cannon per se. Let's see if I could make one. The only reason I say that because I have done it in the past. Tighter than that. Ah, okay. Well, now we know who you are. Thanks for coming by, man. Working on that 3D printer stuff? I just don't want to get into that. I just don't want to get into that. Reminds me of the days where I took CAD in college, and the first time it was offered, oh, this is almost the right size. This is almost the right size. So if we go and we glue this one and then glue that, I think that is like perfect. I don't think I'm going to be able to find tighter than that. But let me use the hot glue gun because it's going to be gap filling. It might be too gap filling. So let's give it a shot. Another problem with something like the 3D printer is there's a lot of useful information on the internet. There's also a lot of unuseful information on the internet. Like I've had stuff happen on like my video editor. I'm like, all right, there's got to be a way to do this. So I look it up. You know, I don't have some random video editor. I've got one that I'm pretty happy with, and there's people that have videos on them, and they're just like. They're bullshit videos. There's so much bullshit. Like, okay, let me figure out how to do this, and it's like lies. You know, it's like they give you this like wrong information, and it's just frustrating to, you know. Like, let me look for some information. You get anything but that. Because some people just make stuff up just to get clicks. Like those groups they have that like specifically put wrong information just to get like interaction with people. Like, yeah, I don't know how those people could sleep at night. They're not people. Okay, I think this actually worked really well. I did here. And then what I can do is we can put super glue but on the inside. And that way we've got a barrel that's kind of tapered. And that's why I said, those of you that watch this channel, you get, I don't do Patreon or nothing like that. You subscribe, you'll find out what I'm doing before anybody else does. That's your reward, if that's important to you. I don't like, and I've run into lots of people. There's a couple of channels that I watch, and it's like, if you're a certain member, you get an exclusive video before you. Like, I don't need that drama, I don't need your money. I mean, unless I can retire. If you can keep me afloat, if all you guys can keep me afloat, I can just sit here and not have to deal with my day job. Well, then we're on. But since that's not a possibility. Okay, so the question is, do you want it to look like this, or do you want it tapered in? Man, there's advantages and disadvantages to either one of them. I want to say the tapered one like this probably is better. Now, can we slide this over it? And okay, it's not an issue. Yeah, so this is going to be a big BFG. It's funny, it's got some things on the side, almost looks like hair dryers. They're turbos. Yeah, I have no interest in getting into that. I can't be into everything. I know several people that come up with some really good 3D print design stuff, and they don't paint. Like, I wouldn't know how to paint. I'm sitting there going, dude, painting's easy compared to that, I just dismissed the 40 years or almost 50 years experience. No, not yet. But 40 years experience I have doing this stuff. It's like a no-brainer. Yeah, I think tapered like this is probably better. Now, how are we going to... It's funny because this one, it didn't lay flat. Well, it's actually looking okay. But this one is totally flat. Weird. Okay, so let's get more of this stuff out here. I'd be totally frustrated by that stuff. I had so many experiences with computer stuff that's like, oh, this should be easy, and then it isn't. I'm like, no. Oh, we're still shifting. Leave them now. Yeah. All right. So what we're going to do is, since this part's not going to be visible, we're going to take some of this and we're going to go around this joint. And then we're going to do the same thing here in this edge. Now, if this starts being a little sissy, then I will epoxy this. We're just going to assume that we won't have to bring out the heavy ordnance. All right. And now we got a BFG on there. Hey, what's that stand for? Think about it. Big old boomba. All right, now, with that said, just like, paint what you know, build what you know. Here's a cowcatchery type thing. Holy shit, this fits perfect. It even, has somewhere to, sit on it. That's perfect. I'm just going to put that right there. Damn it, I wish I would have put it a little high. No, it needs to be in the center of this. Because remember, there's not a steam something or another. And I may cover this, because there's all kinds of hair dryer looking things. It's just a bunch of turbos. A turbo inside of a turbo of another turbo of another one. Now, we have to speed these guys up, because with a gear phase of 3 and 2 maneuvering, they're not going to be able to do a whole lot. And every time this thing fires, well, technically it only has 1 round, it's going to move back medium. So it's going to move back that plus the length of it. It's going to move back about a foot or so. So, and with the fact that it has turbos on it, we're probably going to have nitrous or something on it. So they all need to be sped up somewhere. So this one may have nitrous. Another one of these might have hell for leather, right? Which basically means you can play that repurposed shell casing. That's a good idea, but I don't have any laying around. Or do I? I have 9mm ones. That probably wouldn't be bad. Dude, why didn't you tell me that earlier? Well, let's roll with this. I like the fact that it has 2 steps, but yeah, I think a 9mm casing would be perfect for this. Man, why don't you have these great ideas at work? I think that's spot on. I think that's spot on. So, now I don't want the fact that this has turbos on it. I don't want both of these to have the visible turbos. I think they're going to look like twinsies, and I don't really want to go for that. All right, so we're going to have the front end on both of them look different. Now this one has a skull, so it definitely needs to have a more aggressive front. We said we like this one, and we do. It's a shame it's not a little bit higher. Shit happens. Now, that glue's there. Let's go ahead and do it like this. Let's put this together. Put that there. If we glue this here, then we can move this up. I think this is perfect for it. What's up, Derek? What are you doing on here, man? You've never been on here before. You're not going to the con. I am not going to the con. For the first time. For the first time, I'm not going to the con. For the first time, other than that COVID silliness bullshit that was kind of pulled on us one time. I'm not going to the con because, and the reason why I'm not going to the con is, first of all, there's nothing that I really want to play there. The whole reason to go there would be to, go out to eat with everybody, right? And I don't have a problem with doing that, but I don't feel like I should spend $50 to get a badge for the privilege of going out to eat with everybody. And I've been wanting to go to Busch Gardens. We have tickets for Busch Gardens, the daughter and I do. And she could go this weekend, which I got another invite to do something else this weekend, or the weekend of the con. And the problem with the weekend of the con, I'm like, okay, well, I could just go to our con on Friday, which is the day I want to go anyways, right? And then and then go to Busch Gardens on Saturday. But they have a concert series, and they've got there's a band that I wouldn't mind seeing with a daughter that's playing there for no additional cost. Bowling for Soup. They're fun, you know. So I figure that's a good opportunity, and I just won't go to the con. So, did you go to the con last time? Or yeah, maybe you did. Playing Flames of War stuff. So, yeah, there just wasn't anything I was interested in playing, and I hate to sound negative, but there's just some people that I'm just never going to play a game with again. I'm going out of my way to. You're not one of them. Sorry to disappoint you. There's some people that I'm just never going to play a game with again. They don't deserve me. I haven't had it out with them. They always have a bad attitude. Always. I'm like, you know, I got a bad attitude at work. Some people that are on here would be able to vouch for that. But when I'm not at work, I don't want to have. You know, when I'm not at work, I'm like, I don't like that fucker. So I go this way, right? You can't do that at work. So you won't get to see me. You'll just get all Mitch to yourself. I don't know if is Joel going? Going to do Mitch's Red Rain. He's got to come up with a better name. That name sucks. Okay? The name is just a shitty, you know. That's why I'm not named. He doesn't get to name any Gaslands vehicles. You know? There's an indie author event at Cocoa Beach in April that I'll be at. Indie. What kind of indie stuff is he doing? Author, like books? I like books, but man, they put me to sleep. And I don't mean they're boring. I just mean they're too calming. So I'm a big fan of Audible. And that's what I used to do. I used to do this, and we're gonna try and see if we can glue this. Let's see where our gluing spots are here, but I don't want to. Okay, well here's the reality. We don't need this to be. We don't care if this one's glued down. Okay, this one doesn't matter because I can get to everything here. There's a joint here that I don't want to like accidentally glue it, and when I open, I pop this thing off. So, comrade, pop off. So let's go ahead and splooge this thing in. I love to read, but I like to read for informational purposes. That's what my wife says. When you like to read, but I read for entertainment. You read for like knowledge. I said I do. I just don't like the stuff that they made you assign to read in frickin' school. Like I've never read Oliver Twist and none of that crusty old Emerson, Lake and Palmer, whatever the hell that guy's name. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Oh man. Work creates our attitude. Yeah. It's fair about Mitch's names, yeah. Not traditionally published, self-published. So, there's a book. Let's talk about indie things. I got lots of stuff I can talk about. I gotta go get this book. This book is super cool. And I almost said it goes for a lot of money on the internet. No, I've seen somebody on eBay try to sell this for a lot of money. So this is a limited edition book. I haven't read it in a very long time. I wish I could read it to you guys, but I don't want to screw somebody. And this person's dead. So let me see if I can find it. Here it is. Does it have a crooked spine around here? Not really. Okay, good. It is a World War II book. Let's see. Where are my glasses? My glasses. I have them all. All right. That guy that came on one of my live feeds and repeated that to me, and I'm like, oh my God, you're either paying attention or you just happen to have seen the Jerky Boys as well. Okay, Madness Without End. So this is a collection of short stories. It's published by a guy named Russ Schneider who passed away like in the 2000s sometime. This guy came by our hobby store in the early 90s and asked if he could put these for sale, and I bought one from him. And somebody, let's see, this is 1995, and somebody like had this for like $700 or whatever. It's a series of short story. It's historical fiction, and it's very gory, or at least I remember it being very gory at the time. So, it's all actual events, but there's like make-believe things. And like, one guy is like a tank commander, and another one is like a fighter pilot for the Soviets. It's all Soviet and Germans, and it's and I would love to, not available anymore. The publisher is a local publisher called Prairie, and I don't want to read it to you guys and then like have some copyright thing, but it's super cool, and I just hate that I have this book and I can't share it with anybody. But it's I did read it. I'm not opposed to reading books, but I have a hard time reading them because I can't do anything while I'm reading a book. And if there's like sounds being made, like if I was waiting for a plane at an airport, not that it happens very often, I can't read a book because I get distracted by it. Sorry, when I was in school and stuff, I had the bad habit of not having any distractions, so that's what I'm used to. So I don't distract well. Okay, so is this glued together? It is. All right, now we should be able to super glue this thing across. All right, I am going to attempt to glue this on the bottom. But yeah, I was looking to see if he made anything else. It was in the early 2000s because he put out Madness Without End, and then there was another one that was called Demyansk. That was another series of short stories. I read all those too, and then he published a book called Siege, 1942, and it is the siege of it might have been the siege of Demyansk, and I got it from the Military Book Club. Remember that thing? How many books did you guys end up owing from the Military Book Club? Kicking it like it's Y2K. And I haven't read that one, but I ended up picking so many books up from the Military Book Club, including one that I didn't know I had, and I ended up getting it on Audible and realized, well, I got this book on them. I actually had the physical book and forgot that I had the physical book. When are you coming back up, Derek? Let's do a Gaslands, man. I'll have all kinds of shit done by the time you come up. I hope you had a good time playing it. I feel like it's a good game. I feel like it's a really friendly environment that I feel like it's like, when we're playing, it's like, man, I think you should do this. Like, even if it's like stuff that's bad for you, because it's just like, it's the narrative that's interesting. I don't care if you win or lose. Oh, we got something crick-crock? Little bit, but that might actually be advantageous. We could have it aim a little high. We're just going to rest this on the bottom like that. I think that's perfect. It's fun, yeah. Well, you know what I'm talking about? Did you feel like it was that way? That we're all kind of trying to help each other out? It's not like, we're keeping score of who won, or I think that helps a lot. Like, I don't, unlike DBA, I'm not like, okay, well, I got to play this army first. Like, there's lots of vehicles I've never played and probably never will play that I built. It's not about that. It's about having an interesting narrative. If I did that, then we'd have to play a lot, because, man, I'm putting out a vehicle every 3 days or so. All right, let's make sure that we have this orientated the correct way. All right, we got a cow catcher, and we got a big boom bar there. BFG 10D6. Okay? What else does that have? A ram? Turreted heavy machine gun is what I was thinking of. So, oh, that's not. That's 9. I really wanted to do a double turreted heavy machine gun. So that would be 18. Oh, but that uses a build slot. Okay, that uses a build slot. So I only have one left. Because the BFG uses 3, the RAM uses another one. I have 4. I have one build slot. So heavy machine. Well, I'm not opposed to using something like this, even though it has 2 barrels. They could just be, small caliber, because I think that. Well, that's some other turrets here. I think these are going to look amazing, just so you know. I hope I'm right, because, I don't want to make crap. How about turreted rockets? That'd be 15 points. So that would be 6 more points. That'd be a 52. Well, that would certainly have the height to clear that. You like the ramp? We did the ramp wrong, by the way. That's all right. We applied the rule the best we knew how to, and we all played it the same way. If you change it next time, well, you change it next time. The rules they weren't explained well. It's just, I guess they're not made for dense people like us. Now this one fits perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and glue it on there, like so. As Luke says, man, it's what the people want to see. Exactly. Well, I always have a good time playing games with Luke. What do you mean, you don't have a good time playing games with Mitch? I said, well, I played so many damn games with Mitch that it's just a blur now. Luke used to come over every damn week until he moved out of town. Well, he was kind of a slave to that place, anyways, where he was working. The people that I have a history of playing games with, I don't know. We've always had a really good. I can't tolerate playing with somebody who's got a bad attitude. Now, I don't know if this is actually backwards, but man, it looks like it belongs right here. You got little steps to climb on it. And we may end up having to put some mesh back here to close this off so you can't really see what's going on there. Especially if you have a turret here, it's probably going to need mesh. Now, all these should also be rear drive. But all right, where is this little bag of goodies? I think that's probably pretty reasonable. The turret and heavy machine gun. Well, it's 2 barrels. I said, yeah, but they're light. So I think, for the most part, that build's done. I can't believe I knew him when he was 4. I don't think of him as like being young or anything. Well, you're Mitch's age or a couple years older than him. I know, we're all the same. I'm used to being the young one. I was always the young one. Hold on one second. Ha, younger than Mitch. So we're the same age because Mitch is like 2 years older than I am. I'm a 71. Are you a 71 or a 70? Or one of those millennial 72s? Oh man, why isn't this sitting down straight? Yeah, that's the part where that's why I don't want to. Oops. That's why we don't want to glue it from the inside, because this stuff takes up space, which is great, but sometimes you don't want it to take up space. Give it a squish in there. Maybe this one can be Norfolk and Waypal. It's not going to be Iron Ivan. Iron Ivan is the... Woohoo! That was hot. It squished out the backside. That's what she said. Woo! It's still hot. But see, if this was epoxy, it'd be a huge mess. And again, it's not a train. It's just a heavy truck that looks like a train. 55. I'll be 55 this year. I'll be 55 in June. And it's got these huge, like, lowrider type of... Oh, it could be a Mexican train. And Mexicans are the ones that have the lowriders. Although technically anybody could have them, but they just happen to. I'd say there's some of my favorite vehicles, but I don't know if I have a preference. I've liked all the vehicles that I've done. Okay. So this guy, we're going to put the heavy machine gun over here. If it's turreted, we won't glue it down. We'll put a little piece of stickum. Obviously, it'll be all painted. These will all be completely black. If I keep all of these turbos and stuff showing, which I'm probably going to keep it on this one. And the reason why is because this one needs to have some kind of a nitro to get back in the action when this thing fires. Because when this thing fires, it's going to get an automatic movement back. So we need to have something in play that works with that. Otherwise, you fire once and it's like, okay, you're out of the game. You're going to be 45 tomorrow. Well, at least you don't have to work on your birthday, man. Happy birthday. Hey, if you come on tomorrow, we'll wish you happy birthday again on that day, too. All right, this is Iron Ivan. Iron Ivan needs to be aggressive. Comrade aggressive. Now, this has... If you've ever looked at a Soviet train from, World War II, they always have this plate on the front that there's a red star on it. The front of this is recessed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these little pieces of extra stuff. This one happens to be an Airfix one, Matchbox one. Not Matchbox the Matchbox cars, but Matchbox the model Matchbox. And I'm going to put it on here. That way we can put a little red star on it. So I think that is a definite go. This got a cow catcher, but it's extremely minimalist. So the question then becomes, what kind of cow catcher do we want to put on here? So I would like to put some kind of Soviet T-34 turret or something on here. I don't know if that's doable. It certainly can be, but I'm going to have to close this up so you can't tell that, you don't know what's going on in here, right? It's nice that it has the whole train look. It's got some nice rivets that'll paint up. This one's going to be all in Soviet green, and then we'll, add the other stuff. You got to bounce? Okay, man. Thanks for stopping by, man. Appreciate you. I think that we need to remove this centerpiece. And the way to do that, this is kind of brittle. We're going to use these snips that are older than I am, and they probably are. I was expecting them to explode. Well, we did cut into it. See if we can wiggle this thing without snapping it in half. No whammies. Bad feeling about this Sarge. All right, let's do this. Let's weaken this a little bit more. The nice thing is, even if this does not work when I put it on here and I don't like the look of it, I'm probably going to have to remove the support anyways. Nope, if I use it on another vehicle. Let's see if that was enough. Food is calling. Hopefully it's your second dinner. I'd be pretty late to have my first dinner. I don't judge. I'd have 4 dinners if I could get away with it. I just don't want this to break off and then I have to repair it. Okay, it's just not a very brittle material, which is good. Come on. This is from Creepy Hero Studios. And they don't always use the same material. It varies. I think it's from Creepy Hero. I think so. All right, we've removed most of this. So now it's a little bit more snug looking. We don't want to cover this center part out. I think I'm going to have to remove this whole damn thing if I want it to work. Now, that's where this little tool may come in handy. I did say may. I'm covered. Let's do this one that's tapered. Okay, and I don't know how they managed to make this so that you slide this in and it holds it. In other words, this is just spin there, but let me not ask any too many questions or it'll stop working for me. So let's grind this off. Medium setting. This is pretty durable, actually. This is, I guess, FDM. Not getting anywhere. Here we go. We're going to have to use the Dremel for this. This is very durable. I guess that's a good thing. We'll use the Tamiya cutters. Why didn't just fuck them up? I don't think so. Man, this material is really durable. Now it's almost flush. I think this is the one for it. This has traditional wheels back here. What's this say? Rail Rotter, 1995. Okay. And do we like how this looks? I think so. I think this looks correct. I think it looks, and it's okay that it rides low. I think it's correct. We can add, where is this little piece right here? This is like perfect for putting that little red star decal on it, of which I have many. Alright, we still got some active super glue, or we need to put more down. Run out? Maybe, but I need to store this upside down. Okay, well, we got other super glues. We'll just use the slow acting. Oh, we got a piece of hot glue gun in here? Come on, man. Oh, good thing we used the slow acting one. And then this, you want to put it in a place where it has something to lean against. Something. That's pretty straight. We'll have to trim that a little bit once it's glued. And I think that if we just put, oh, we can't use that. Well, you know what? I can adjust this one. Probably better. Remember, this is a heavy truck that just looks like a train. It's going to behave like a heavy truck. Only thing they're going to have in common is they all have rams. They probably all should have. Oh, that looks great. They probably all should have whatchamacallit, pile driver. They probably all should have the pile driver skill. It may be that 50 points isn't enough. We got to go 60, but I like to keep it reasonable, so we're not going to have to, the guys that fight these guys to have tons and tons and tons of points. Yeah, and like I said, this is going to be base green, army green, with other stuff on it. I remember it's got to look like a legitimate engine, so Now I want this one armored. I think I want it armored. Iron Ivan, it should be like more armored than the other ones, right? But I don't think adding these plates to it. Well, we could certainly put these plates on the side here and cover up the back of this. It'll give us a bunch of little slots. We just need to cover the back with something. Now we're well on our way to making these guys look real interesting. I kind of want to design them all before we start painting them, and then next thing, like, man, I wish I would have done that with such and such a thing. I knew that I needed a BFG vehicle, considering I don't have one. So I think this is going to be the one, and I don't mind leaving the turbos on here. With this one, we'll probably cover this in some plastic just over it. I think that should work fine. But anyways, thanks for stopping by. You guys did great today. And maybe some kind of ground anchors like the Storm Chaser trucks. Yeah.